The most important question that you should be asking yourself right now is, am I actually free, or am I still a victim, enslaved to the choices that someone less aware makes on my behalf? You should be asking yourself if you are actually free to put yourself through inner revolutions so that you can look beyond your limiting conditioning from society and the past and look into and look through the propagandas and the power struggles around you, which are keeping you enslaved while making you think that you are actually free. Guten Tag, bonjour, bom dia, dobre din, gune din, konnichiwa, ni hao, namaste, sawadee kap, salamat pagi to all of you beautiful people. My name is Dinkrit Sethi, and today I welcome you to Lifestyle with Din. And on this beautiful day, we will be talking about the most important act of rebellion or war in your life. And that is the rebellion that you have with your own ego, your inner self. We live in times of war, where wars, diseases, propagandas come one after the other, and sometimes we lose ourselves to them because that's what the narration of the political powers wants. You to be so lost that you keep falling victim to their commentary. So, I will start off my workout and discuss this, and I will have a 5 to 10 minutes video, which is not only about me emoting what is wrong in the world, but also giving you a chance to go through that inner revolution so that you can detach yourself from what is going on in the world, the story being told, and realize from self awareness what actually needs to be done. I am starting off with side raises and reverse raises and front raises. This is my little warm up where I am doing side raises, reverse raises and front raises. So, there is a big war going on in the world, and this war is not a new war. This war is the culmination of ideological differences, power of capitalism, greed, and people trying to prove themselves in front of their own nationalities and humans, and preemptive strikes where people are striking other people for imagining that they possess weapons that they actually themselves do, rather than the world going into a treaty or a process where we can take away all these globally destructive weapons. We are using some of the weapons to create commotion so that other people do not have these. And if you are even a little bit aware, you will understand all of the games being played. How can a nuclear power stop another person or another country from trying to attain something that they have attained, and something that gives them not only dominance over other countries, but also a better structure, a better lifestyle? And that has happened before with countries like Iraq, where the entire regime was meant to come down. And what it does, it creates a lot of unrest in the lives of other people who are trying to normally live around the world, whether it is through factors of the finances and economies of the world, or through basic consciousness, where news of death and destruction really damages sensitive people around the world. And there are some of us remaining, some sensitive people. So, what we have to understand is the stories and propagandas around us should not determine the lives we live. We live in democracies, but modern democracies have turned into partial monarchies, where there is unification of leadership, and these leaders who are elected for time and again in order to be conscious stewards of nations end up fulfilling their own agendas, and in order to ensure that they stay in the limelight. And a lot of that is coming through. We are not unaware in the digital front, where the leaders of certain countries want to take credit for stopping wars, which they never stopped. Some petty countries who are so economically deprived, they try to nominate these people for Nobel Peace Prizes, and then eventually on the same day that this Islamic country nominates them, they bomb another Islamic country, which is again a Sunni Shia fight, but I don't want to get into all that. But at the same time, you have to understand how the hypocrisy of all of it comes out, where someone who's nominated for a peace prize is actually bombing other people. So are we actually saying that some people have the authority, some countries have the authority of using peace as a mask to overthrow all the rules of the UN, of the world, in order to spread peace through war? And then obviously there will be some sort of a retaliation, and that also again is a reaction which is thought of in the planning, because that's what gives access for these countries to validate their cause and then show to other governments and their partners that, you know, this person is going against all of us, and then that's when they give a wholesale attack and take over most of the administrative, economic and raw material power of another country. So this has been going on since a while, and you know what happens is, I was doing a deep dive into the cultural aspect of all of it, and with the Sufis and the mystics of Iran, they are very faith oriented. They are not as much as science and capitalism and hierarchy oriented as our Western societies, and that's an ideological difference, because some of what I've seen in samurais in Japan also was similar. They are very honor oriented, and this honor is very important to them, and sometimes when it comes to the whole aspect of honor and values and rules, these people choose honor, and I'm sure there will be a retaliation, they will go down fighting. But then what are we actually trying to do? How much oil, how much money, how much capitalism does this world actually need, and how many families of the US should sleep terrified at night, thinking about the next attack that will happen on them? It's not just about us, it's not just about India, Pakistan, Israel, Iran, it's about this whole humanity which is suffering. And the whole concept of having this inner revolution is important. When we are having that discussion with ourselves, spending time alone, because when we are in crowds, when we think like nations and religions, we will obviously get into passion and get enforced into certain ways of thinking which are not us individually. Individually, we are always looking at peace until unless we are totally gone in the head. Only as crowds do we act stupidly. So if we are just having that moment of meditative silence and reflecting and going on our own journeys, we will actually understand that no matter who dies or who's affected, it is a common point. Today it's a war in Kashmir, tomorrow it's Tehran, then it's New York, and all of this leads to a loss in humanity. And to restore humanity's faith in itself, we have to make sure that we are raising our voices against all of these things, because in India now the digital laws make it impossible to talk about the corruption which is so predominant. We can't talk about it because otherwise we will be held accountable, and so is the case of the world. Most of the wise people are quiet, they don't talk about all these things, they think that they won't be able to impact, or they will be silenced, as most people are. You are crucified for speaking a truth in a world where fallacy, power struggles, money and greed are the ethos. So, but I thought that irrespective of YouTube shutting me down, Instagram shutting me down, it's very important for me to come out and make people aware. I'm not just a fitness, mental, emotional, spiritual trainer. I am actually a warrior for peace for myself, because I want to live that life. I want to contribute to this life, and even if one person can get uplifted and become self-aware and conscious about what's going on, then the positive effect, the dynamic effect of that moves forward. And this is not preaching a culture, a community. I don't want a cult, but I want people to be so individualized in themselves that they understand, and that's the only way. When you are individualized by yourself, you will realize your connection with source. In that domain, everyone is one. There is no differentiation of nations, religions and communities and classes. And if we live with oneness, we will feel another person's pain, we will feel another person's problems, and we will be mindful. Because see, religions when they developed, were actually pathways towards oneness. No god wanted war in his name. They wanted people to live peacefully, and every person who's actually been a part of their religion with depth, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, anything, Sikhism, all the religions in the world, they will understand. Anyone who's well read, well aware of whatever they have studied, they will have that meditative element of understanding and being in other people's shoes. And that's what we have to ensure with our leaders. Our leaders are unaware. They have political agendas, and mostly I can talk about India, where if you see at the top level, this whole religious game is played so well, but is it embodied? Right now, the world needs a lesson in Dharma, spirituality, righteousness. But are we doing justice to that by keeping quiet? The leadership which actually portrays itself as the yogic leader and the spiritual leader of the world, and that's what the votes come for, is Dharma being practiced by keeping quiet when some injustice is happening in the world? And this will sooner or later come to us. And already there have been so many divisions. If you talk about political divides, there have been so many divisions created within our nationality, with our neighbors and everything, that I actually, when I travel around in Asia, I find a lot of unity with all kind of people. I'm making friends with Chinese people, Thai people, Korean people, all of the people around, even Pakistanis and Bangladeshis. We stay like the brotherhood is so strong. We feel for each other, we live for each other, we guide each other towards our own well-being rather than imposing. So that's what is practiced when I'm traveling the world. And especially Chinese people, I love them. They are so meticulous. Their language is all verb based. They're so dedicated. But now, because of certain differences, because of certain noises regarding escalations at the border, which we can't resolve with discussion because they are neighbors, we need to introduce other people, because other people want to use us as a bait, as a base to check on our neighbors, because they are growing. They're growing rapidly, far beyond what India is. They're not only growing with population, they're growing economically, and you can see it, you can observe not only in the terms of economy, but how well they are growing in terms of whatever they have done by themselves with the world against them. So it's better to be with such neighbors who are aligned, who are deeply driven, rather than be with some other forces which are dividing the world and creating this problem. So I always believe that this unity and community should be coming through our embodiment and action. But this arms race, ammunition race, the money that's spent on defense, most of it is corrupt officials trying to take away money. Most of it is not used. The roads, the atmosphere, the air in India, all of the money that's dedicated towards these things not used. So taxpayers' money going to nothing. Top 5% holding all the GDP, and all the media glorifying this individual and this political party. Why? For what? We don't need glorification and PR when you're actually doing a good job. The noise should be made by the world, not by bought PR teams and bought other populations and crowds based upon hating someone else, based upon fanaticism, which we were against. So that's the condition of India, and I would love for India to reach its past, where there was consciousness, there was a sense of balance in consciousness, where everyone was a mystic, a spiritual element, and they lived the embodiment of Dharma, the embodiment of righteousness, and doing the right thing irrespective of what's happening. And that didn't allow for too much of diplomacy and politics, because we knew what was right. And politics and diplomacy is a way of this modern world which is there to blind the crowds through different agendas. And that's where the world needs to understand. They have to grow up not scientifically but spiritually, and that's where the war lies. The ultimate war is for peace, and it requires for every one of us to grow spiritually, to really dig down deep into our spirituality and embody some of the practices rather than just protect our religions. We are not practicing our religions by killing someone, or celebrating when someone bombs someone, or celebrating getting more weapons to kill the world or protect ourselves. All that is corruption, and all that is propaganda which has corrupted religions. So we have to understand that the new society is based upon us. We have to create a new world, not only for ourselves but the children that come. We need to change the education system in order to let go of historical divisions and give a chance to a spiritual realization, self-awareness, consciousness, imagination, creativity, attention, focus, because these are the elements of this modern generation which they actually need in a world where attention seems to be divided, where there is so much information influx. And it's a request and a wish for all of you to go through inner journeys and call out what's going on wrong, because personally, on an individual level, no one would have a problem with anyone else if they are realized and if they are conscious. It's only when we are divided by people who we have elected as our representatives that these problems happen. So if we can move towards a decentralized world where conscious stewardship is a role taken up by the leaders of the world, rather than just propaganda and all the bullshit that comes with it, the money power struggle, then it will be a better world. But still in India there is a lot of corruption, which I say, and around the world as well the corruption is there. Somewhere it is hidden, somewhere it's not, which creates for a world which is divided, which creates leaders who are more important in sustaining their own agendas and ego rather than serving. So if we can have a system where every conscious steward of the society needs to fulfill certain things before becoming a steward. They need to either show discipline, compassion, empathy, perform yoga. We have yoga in India. So be a yogi for 3 to 5 years, not a social media yogi, but a practicing yogi. Read the spiritual text, but not in a religious propaganda way, but live that life. And also have yearly or quarterly tests of them based upon what they are doing with their lifestyle, their health, their mindfulness, and their emotional health, so that they are at their best self and their most conscious self to serve humanity. Then it will be a better world. And it is not a far-fetched vision if we can utilize all our strengths, all our energy and our love to go forward. With that being said, we live in a dangerous world, but the greatest danger is to keep quiet while seeing the world burn. So make sure you raise your voice, not against someone, but for the humanity, the love, the joy and unity of life, which grants us this beautiful existence, which gives us this beautiful chance to experience so many emotions. And that's what my wish for all of you is. I will keep raising my voice, because now I have found it, and there's nothing that can silence me. Even if YouTube bans me, I'll go to another platform. Even if Instagram does, there's no way I'm stopping now, because this is my path, this is my purpose. And with that purpose, I send you towards the best day of your life today. Be more conscious.